All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High in the proper names in the Paleo Hebrew tongue. I want to say Kal Halayim La Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem Kakadash Ma'amoth. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, whom the world eagerly and willingly call God of Jehovah. Ba Hashem meaning in the name of. Yahweh Shai meaning he who delivers, whom the world eagerly and willingly call JC today. I want to give a double honor to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well, and another double honor to my elder as well, Ahara Wannabe Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp here in Jacksonville, Florida. Salutations to the 144,000 hopeful elect pushing this truth across the four winds, and to the 1/3 remnant believers on Yahweh Shem Shah Shalom Shalom. It's going to be a quick lesson put together through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, and I pray that it be edifying. So this lesson is going to be entitled Magnify Thine Office, or Magnify That Lot, or something to that effect. And basically it's going to be centered around just that, magnifying thine office. And I'm going to get straight into it. This is the book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 1. Salakia. It's all type of the ground all uneven. Salakia. It says, Ephesians 4 and verse 1. I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. So, right, being in this truth, you have to understand that Yahweh Shema Shah have given each and every single last man, that hit the highways and byways, that has a spirit to do the work, a gift. And he might have revealed that gift to you at a young age, or at a later age, or revealed it to you when you came into the truth. All right, so that gift that we had, Yahweh Shem Shah basically is going to cause us to magnify that gift in righteousness. Whether you always knew you had it, or whether he just revealed it to you, or whether he revealed it to you in later in the truth. So right, it says, I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. So right, Blue Letter Bible, word for a vocation.
Strong's G 2821, klesis.
All right, klesis. It says a calling to, a call, invitation. So right, we were called into this truth. It says those that were bidden to the marriage. Go out that my house may be filled. So we were called to the marriage supper, of the Lamb. Being those that repented 2,000 years ago, had faith and believed in the name of Yahweh Shem Shah, believed on the works of Yahweh Shem Shah, the miracles of Yahweh Shem Shah, and just believed, that had faith in him, that believed that he was, in fact, the anointed. It says to a feast. You see what I'm saying? Of the divine invitation to embrace salvation of Yahweh. So right, man, that's a heavy lot. That's a heavy calling. So within that, we have to magnify our office and the gift that he basically gave us. We want to basically flip the Lord's money. If the right words. If I'm using the right words, I'm pretty sure brothers out there, will have better words. It's just none don't come to mind right now, but I would say flipping the Lord's money, man, and that gift that he gave you, go out there and present it to the world, via this truth, your calling. And it says, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. So right, being lowly, being humble, understanding that, not treating this truth as if it's something that you could just put off at any time, but treating this truth just like something that's precious, something that's very precious to you, And it says lowliness and meekness and humbleness, knowing and understanding that it's not your truth, knowing and understanding that you don't have power to point out the elect. We are the hopeful elect, hoping for salvation, not trying to basically be a tyrant over anybody, or making it seem as if somebody needs you for salvation. You know, that salvation is given on high from Yahweh Shem Shai. It says, with all lowliness and meekness and with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. So, right, you know, have to be long suffering, you know, towards each other, you know, understanding and knowing that you're talking to Yahweh Shem Shai sheep, you know, understanding and knowing that your brother, who your fellow servant, you know, who you do this work with, he basically calls on the same power and cries to the same power that you cry to. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be humble. And it says, forbearing one another in love. You get what I'm saying? So being there when your brother need him, being there when your brother needs you, you see what I'm saying? And looking deep within yourself, understanding what you have to change, you know, to be a better brother, you know, to be a better servant to Yahweh Shem Shai. You know, when we all basically can clean our glass a little bit when it comes to being better, because, you know, we humans, man. We slip up, we fall sometimes, but ultimately, we humans. We all could be better. So, right, it says, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bound of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, even as ye are called, and one hope of your calling. So we all had the same hope. You know, we all had the same spirit. That's why we able to speak the same things. You know, being your brother across the four corners of the earth. You know, calling on the same name. You know, having that same that small voice in your head telling you this is right and this is wrong. You know, that was given from on high. And it says, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one power, and Father of all, who is above all and through all, and in you all. So, right? It says, verse 7, but unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Hamashiach. Right? It says, verse 8, wherefore he said, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto man. Right? Point being, when he basically, he was like, the comforter ain't gonna come until I go. And when he went, you know, that's when the apostles received power to basically heal men. You know, he gave everybody their gift. You see what I'm saying? And it says, now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first unto the lower parts of the earth? It says, he that descended is the same also that ascended up from far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. Right? He was made a little lower than the angels, so he came down here. He suffered death for the people. You see what I'm saying? And now he appeared before, you know, Yahweh. Revelation chapter 5, or it's probably chapter 4. You know, as a lamb that was slain. Everybody looking at him like, he flesh and blood. He just, you know, entered the kingdom. You see what I'm saying? So he was magnified. You know, everything was basically given into his hands. And we're going to be joint heirs to be able to reap those same benefits if we endure to the end. It says, verse 11, and he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers, right? Those gifts, you know, to be able to do his work. You see what I'm saying? So it gets to a point to where, how are you showing your gratefulness to Yahweh Shem Hashar for your gift, basically teaching, you know, preaching, you know, believing, and what are you going to do with your gift, you know, that was given from on high? You see what I'm saying? And that's what you have to, and it gets to a point to where you have to real deal be a critical thinker in the truth to be able to discern between the good, you know, between the clean and the unclean, between the good and the bad, and be the man that Yahweh Shem Hashar called you to be. You see what I'm saying? Not trend following and being after the next man, creating all type of stipulations. You see what I'm saying? According to what the next man will say. You get what I'm saying? Respect the persons. You get what I'm saying? Quick to be there for the next, for one person, and for the next. Now you know what I'm saying? You a trend follower. You see what I'm saying? How you gonna magnify your office being a trend follower? You get what I'm saying? So right, it says, and he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach. So right. So everything that he gave us is not for us to basically, up ourselves or, put ourselves on another level. You see what I'm saying? It's only one door. Everything that he gave us, it was basically to magnify his name, glorify his name, and bring people to him. You see what I'm saying? So what the scripture say, all lowliness and meekness, you see what I'm saying? Understanding that everything was given from Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You can't get a position or get up to, these truth, what you have, the examples being from other camps. You see what I'm saying? Get a leader get puffed up in pride and feel as if he's somebody and forget that he nobody. Become a tyrant, become a bully. You see what I'm saying? The Lord could take your title. So you have to walk humble in meekness. And in meekness, understand that this is his truth. So right, it says, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach, till we all come to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of Yahweh. So right, you see what I'm saying? We hit the highways and byways to try to, we fishing to find Yahweh Shem Yahushua's, sheep. We're going out there doing this work, fishing, trying to pull in the clean fish and basically casting out the bad. It says, unto the knowledge of the Son of Yahweh, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach. So right. That's our very reason, for this job, is to do the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. He have given each and every last one of us a certain gift to present our bodies as a living sacrifice, to basically prove him, show him that, he made the right decision in choosing who he chose. You see what I'm saying? That nobody could pluck these men that was given him, out of his father's hand, out of his hand. You get what I'm saying? So right, this is Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good, that acceptable, and perfect will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So right, we are, transformed. We went from being carnal sinners, you see what I'm saying, niggas, in this world, to becoming men of the Lord, and not like the church, cleaning the inside of the cup first, and then shining the outside of the cup, and making that a vessel a vessel unto the Lord, meaning that can't no unclean, person outside the world come and put their lips on that vessel, being clean, renewed, and holy unto Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Like those, your grandmother used to have that china cabinet with the good dishes that can't nobody eat off of. You see what I'm saying? For the Lord. And it says, verse 3, for I say through the grace given unto me to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as Yahweh had dealt to every man the measure of faith. So right, Yahweh Shem, it might be a brother that don't have as much faith as you. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to basically puff yourself over that brother, make that brother feel as if that he don't matter, but push him to be better. You see what I'm saying? Because in this world, man, people let you, bro, in this world, you got to watch who you call a brother. You see what I'm saying? Because when you fall, you might fall, he might sit and record you. You see what I'm saying? He's not going to help you up, pray over you, or whatever the case may be, man. So you have to understand, man, in this life, you got to real deal think to yourself, if we was going to war, is he going to run if he going to be with me? Are you going to, is this man a real true brother that's going to be brotherly? You see what I'm saying? We all, have friends in the world. When you come to this truth, you find real brothers. Your friend of the world that don't, he might be your friend. You see what I'm saying? To a certain extent. But it get to a point to where, is he truly your friend? If your woman was trying to do something with him, most likely in the world, nigga gonna fall for it. You have to have the fear of the Lord when it comes to certain situations. Your brothers in the truth having the fear of the Lord. The first thing their mindset is gonna be, I'm not crossing the Lord and I'm not crossing my brother. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people out here claiming your brother, but sit right there and let you, fall. Don't help you. You see what I'm saying? I sit right there and secretly commune back and forth and about some shit. You know what I'm saying? So it get to a point where I pray Yahweh Shema Shah separate me from those type of people, man. And keep the spirit on me to always fight and to be an example of what a real brother is, in this lifetime. So, right, it says, verse 3, for I say, through the grace given unto me to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think. So, right, we have to understand that we are carnal creatures on this planet, man. We worms. You see what I'm saying? We worms. We can't, it ain't much we could do in this life. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to think of yourself more highly than you ought to think. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I'll be in my head and I think that I could slay a giant through the spirit power of Yahweh Shem Shai. And it's a thought that I think every single day. Me by myself versus 100,000. You see what I'm saying? May the Lord be with me and cause me to prevail. You see what I'm saying? That's the mindset that I think. But and it's like, and even with that, I had to understand that I can't do nothing unless Yahweh Shem Shai give me the power to do something. And I can't, in certain situations, he's like, nah, I'm going to protect you so my name can be glorified. You ain't got to do nothing. You get what I'm saying? So, right, we don't want to think of ourselves more highly than we ought to think. I might have a thought of to prevail, in a situation of, fighting or protecting what's precious, being the Lord's sheep. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's Yahweh Shem Shai who does the protecting, who gives you power, who gives you teeth. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep going. It says, but to think soberly, according as Yahweh have dealt to every man the measure of faith. So, in this life, we don't want to get puffed up, and think that, a lot of people, oh, I'm King David. You see what I'm saying? What people say, they, everybody want to be King David. Nobody want to be Adonijah. Nobody want to be Judas. But every time, they uplift themselves and come out their mouth, Aaron is always being, some of the greatest. You guys, people out here that saying, hey, Yahweh Shah himself. They try to, they thinking that they something when they nothing, so they deceive themselves. It says, verse 4, for as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office. So, right, imagine if your office was for exhortation, right? Which elders and apostles at Great Millstone, they teach us, how to switch it up, how to prophesy when it's time, to exhort when it's time. You see what I'm saying? But just imagine if everybody was waking up trying to exhort every day. You be like a Christian pastor, especially if you ain't got the right names or the right doctrine. You see what I'm saying? Who gonna be prophesying? Imagine if your lot was to prophesy and everybody just trying to exhort and you over here trying to exhort. That's not your gift. You see what I'm saying? Which through the spirit power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, we do understand these scriptures and we're gonna eat the whole roll and we're gonna put it out there. You see what I'm saying? But that one specific office that Yahweh Shem Yahshua gave you is what you're gonna magnify. That was your specific gift. You see what I'm saying? To be hiding your gift and trying to center after the next man and be like the next man. You see what I'm saying? Magnify your office, man. You see what I'm saying? Adding stipulations and you know what I'm saying? So let me keep going. It says, verse 4, for as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office, so we being many are one body in Hamashiach, and every one members one of another. So right, we one body with different members. So having a body with 4 feet, you see what I'm saying? That body that body is deformed. That body can't do much. You get what I'm saying? So having a body and nobody and trying to be that part of the body that smell, or that part of the body that taste. You see what I'm saying? That part of the body that see. You get what I'm saying? You a little pinky toe, but you trying to want to be the head, which that ain't the case. You see what I'm saying? Because according to the true body of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, whatever part that Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai put you in, you're gonna be grateful. You see what I'm saying? But according to these other camps and stuff like that, you have low-level people, trying to be the head. You have people in the world that want to be Yahweh Shai. It says, verse 6, having then gift differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the proportion of faith. So right, if your gift is to prophesy, you want to magnify your office, your lot in prophesying, or ministry, let us wait on our ministerings, right? Because Yahweh Bashim Ashai is going to lead you in the path that was good. He's going to put it, in your heart, to basically do what he needs you to do to bring in those fish that's in that area. It says, or he that teacheth on teaching, or he that exhorteth on exhortation, he that giveth, let him do it with simplicity. So right, you see what I'm saying? And exhortation is something that's needed. I do a lot of exhortation videos. You see what I'm saying? Because like Yahweh Bashim Ashai, a real deal, put it in you. He'll make you go through something, and he'll use what he took you through to build somebody else up. You know what I'm saying? When I do videos, sometimes I just say what need to be said. I speak the real. You get what I'm saying? Just like let you know this is how Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai delivered me from this situation, and this is how he helped me in this situation, which everything don't need to be said. You get what I'm saying? But just saying, like, the Lord is true. He's faithful. He's going to come through for you in a time of need. It says, on exhortation, he that giveth, let him do it with simplicity. He that ruleth with diligence, and he that showeth mercy with cheerfulness. Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil. Cleave to that which is good. It's all right. Don't be like the world, man. The world, they only call your phone when they need something. You see what I'm saying? And when you ain't got nothing else to give, they ain't gonna call your phone no more. You see what I'm saying? A brother gonna be there when you ain't even got nothing to give. You see what I'm saying? Or whatever case it may be, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, he put it in us to be that way, to come through for one another. So right, let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil. Cleave to that which is good. It says, be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. So right, you want to be on fire for the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. The scriptures say, whatsoever thou doest, stretch forth thy hand to do it with all thy might. You see what I'm saying? Be fervent in business. Get up and make some shit shake. You see what I'm saying? Salakia for, the curse word, but get up and make something happen, man. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to be stagnant, sitting there, letting time just fly by when it's things that you need done. Waiting until the last minute, getting up trying to, hurry up and do things last minute. Nah, man, get up and make something shake, man. Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai gave us 2 legs, 2 arms, a beating heart. You see what I'm saying? A beating heart and a mindset to go get it. Being this truth. You see what I'm saying? Get up and real deal make something shake when it comes to this truth. Get up and hit them highways and byways. You see what I'm saying? To teach. To do these lessons. All right. So it says, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. So, all right, we do this fervently for Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. You get what I'm saying? When the opportunity presents itself, we uplift Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. It says, rejoicing in hope, patient, rejoicing in hope. So, you don't want to be like leaving Egypt. You hope for something and then you complaining the whole time while having hope. I mean, you acting like you got hope, but you complaining the whole time. It said rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, patient when you're going through it. You see what I'm saying? And get up. You going through something, man. You want Yahweh Shem Yahshua to hear you. It's best to fast and pray. You see what I'm saying? You want Yahweh Shem Yahshua to hear you. You gotta fast and you gotta pray. You know. Right. Patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer. Right. It's always on your mind. You know, wherever you go. Praying to Yahweh Shem Yahshua, calling the name of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. You know, having a conversation. You still considering, not just considering, but preferring Yahweh Shem Yahshua over the lust of the flesh, the things of the world. You know, choosing that which is right and abhorring that which is evil. It said distributing to the necessity of saints given to hospitality. So right, just trying your best to be, that perfect servant for Yahweh Shem Yahshua. So right, I'm gonna get that Romans chapter 11 and verse 13 just be an example. It says, "For I speak to you, Gentiles, and as much as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office." All right. Paul magnified his office. You read all throughout Acts, how he was basically sent to the Gentiles and he was doing his job, for years. You see what I'm saying? Glorifying the name of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. So right. It says, "For I speak to you Gentiles, and as much as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office." So that's the point. You want to magnify, your office, that gift that Yahweh Shem Yahshua gave you, whether it be, prophecy, exhortation, giving. You see what I'm saying? Just being the perfect servant for Yahweh Shem Yahshua to the best of your ability. Not saying that, which we gonna fall sometimes, and be controlled by the flesh. Not controlled by the flesh, but we in this flesh. So we gonna give in to the flesh every now and again. But it gets to a point to where you get back up and you change something about yourself every day through the spirit power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. You fast and you pray to try to make it to that next level through the spirit power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. We can't do nothing without the Lord. So all right, this is the book of James, chapter 1, and verse 17. It says, "Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning." So all right, everything is given from Yahweh Shem Yahshua. It comes from on high. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna get this definition. It's like it. The water Yahweh Shem. All right, the water Yahweh Shem Yahshua. All right, variableness. It means the state of or quality of being changeable or inconsistent. So right, that gift that he gave you from the beginning, you want to keep that gift, man. You see what I'm saying? You want to keep that gift. You don't want to change according to the next man's gift, or you abhor your gift and, trying to be a part of the next man's gift, and try to magnify that. You want to magnify yours. You see what I'm saying? It was scripture in the book of Maccabees. It says one of the priests foolishly went out there and fought in the war. You see what I'm saying? But the priests need to be sending up the sacrifices and let the warriors, those who are handpicked to be warriors by way of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, go out there and fight. And Yahweh Shem Yahshua gonna be with them. And those priests basically were slayed for trying to be something that they not. You see what I'm saying? So it says variables means the state or quality of being changeable or inconsistent. It describes something that is susceptible to alteration or a tendency to change. The term can be used to describe physical things like the weather or more abstract concepts like human emotions. So right, man. Right. It gets to a point to where Yahweh Shem Yahshua put something in you and you wanna be that 144%. You see what I'm saying? What it says, he brought him 10 talents more, try to bring 20 talents. You see what I'm saying? Just speaking through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. You know, I know the Lord put a strong spirit in me to just be a fighter and to fight like on all forms. You get what I'm saying? Now, right now, what I'm fighting is, what I'm fighting right now would be myself to work on my responses. You see what I'm saying? Work on my responses, and I wouldn't necessarily say anger, because it just feels, you know how you just feel calm. I don't want to say it because you know when you say it, man, saying come try to mess with you and stuff. You know, working on my responses, you know, understanding that everybody's not going to understand me if I'm constantly coming from a point of, you know, what it says, authority, or trying to be authority over other people. You see what I'm saying? And that goes into not thinking of yourself more highly than you ought to think. You see what I'm saying? Or thinking that you're a leader in every situation. You know, because, you know, growing up, Yahweh Shem Shai like always had me in leadership roles. Like I'll be in band or drumline. Next thing you know, I'm over the whole band. You know, when the band director not around. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I come in, you know, and I warm up the band, tune all the instruments. You see what I'm saying? Make everybody do the warm up. You see what I'm saying? Stretches, running. You get what I'm saying? Or being able to control how many laps we'll run or something like that. Or, you know, and then now when the band director come in, everything on point. You see what I'm saying? Now we can get to the rundowns on the music or the drum cadences. You see what I'm saying? And if I would have stayed in college, it would have been that same thing. You know, through the spirit, probably how about Shem Shai, I seen it. You see what I'm saying? So now I would have went from being over high school bands to being over a college band. You get what I'm saying? You know, just, you know, being a drum major, you had to be a leader. You know, and to, you know, so it gets to a point to where when you come into the truth, you have leaders, you know, elders, bishops, you know, apostles, you know, and they're going to basically do their job according to the measure of faith that Yahweh Shem Shai have given them. You see what I'm saying? So you have to wait on that ministry and wait on your time to come. You know, do it in what? Meekness and humbleness and lowliness. You know, and the time gonna come where Yahweh Shem Shai make you an elder, Lord willing. We ain't here. You know, because we ain't here, he said what? You're gonna become kings and priests. You know, so we're gonna go from being, you know, that brother in the camp, and he said he's gonna make us kings and priests. So, all right. Let me keep going. So, right, that variableness, what it says. It says, right, verse 17, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. All right, he ain't changing. You know, he ain't changing. So by Yahweh Shai, by him being who he is, we change from this flesh and we try to be that perfect man, you know, that we were from the beginning. You know, when Yahweh Shai called us, you know, we strive to be a part of that, and eventually he gonna put us in a whole new body, and we're gonna actually be that. Right now we try. You see what I'm saying? So it's like verse 18, it says, of his own will begot he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath, for the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of Yahweh. It's all right. You know, because the world will put hella wrath on you, hella anger on you, you know, or what can I say? A parent. You get what I'm saying? Just not knowing, you know, not understanding how to, just generational curses. So it gets to a point to where when you come into the truth, you have to do things differently. You have to actually pay attention and listen. Understand who you listening. Understand that it's coming from Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. You see what I'm saying? And also understand when somebody just being straight out bullshitting. You see what I'm saying? Over there, you all in IUIC, and they telling you that the MOTB, that the chip ain't the MOTB. You see what I'm saying? So now you just listening. You see what I'm saying? You being led astray. You see what I'm saying? So you have to you have to understand your gift. With that gift, it's going to help you to be able to discern, if you coming in the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah. So you can listen in humbling and meekness, and you have to understand when people just flat out bullshitting too. You see what I'm saying? That's going to call, through the spirit power of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, basically going to direct you to the right door, basically. So, right. Verse 21, wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity and naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your soul. It's all right. It's all right, man. And that's just what it is. You got to be humble enough to receive correction. You get what I'm saying? It's called accountability. And also know when you going off. Also know when you showing variableness, changing. You see what I'm saying? Change it with season, and being a man. I'm gonna say, 'cause we carnal sometimes. There's flesh, by basically what I mean by being a man. It's all right. So man, that was the lesson, man. That's all the precepts I had. Just basically magnifying your lot. You see what I'm saying? And doing everything through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, with all meekness and lowliness. I pray this lesson was edifying. Shalom. I'm on to the next.